Stand for silent reflection and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia, Mrs. King,
Here.
Mr. O'Brien,
Here.
Mr. Schuler,
Here.
Mr. Tinkin,
Here.
Mr. Vorbach,
Here.
Mayor Mechanico.
Here. Please read the Open Public Meetings Act, Jay.
Pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was posted here in the municipal building, filed in the office of the Borough Clerk, published as a legal notice in the Co-Star newspaper, and mailed to those requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with borough policy.
I need a motion to approve the agenda with the additions of Resolution 166 and 167. Motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Do we have any questions on the agenda? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you. Come to the point in the meeting where we have some minutes we have to approve, and I believe we're going to take one at a time.
Yes, Mayor. The first is the meeting of January 27th, and my records reflect that Mr. Vorbach was absent.
Okay. I need a motion for January 27th.
Yes, January 27th.
Motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Do you have any questions on those minutes? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Mayor, I didn't get a chance to read these today because I was having my electrical service changed, so I'm going to abstain on all these minutes, okay? I did not get a chance to read them at all.
and Mr. Vorbach.
Abstain.
Thank you.
The next minutes, Mayor, are the meeting of February 10th, and at that meeting, Mr. Vorbach was absent.
Okay. I need a motion and a second for February 10th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
And do we have any questions on the roll call, Jay?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
Mr. Vorbach.
Abstain.
The next meeting minutes, Mayor, are June 9th. My records reflect that Mrs. Cynthia and Mr. Vorbach were absent.
June 9th. Need a motion and a second for
I'll make the motion.
June 9th.
I'll second it.
And, roll call, any questions? No, sir. Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
Mr. Vorbach.
Abstain.
The next minutes, Mayor, are June 20, let me read my writing, that would be the 23rd.
23rd. I need a motion for June 23rd.
And at this meeting, Mayor, Mr. Schuler and Mr. Tinkin were absent.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Do we have any questions? June 23rd. Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Abstain.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
The next meeting, Mayor, are the minutes for July 14th, and at this meeting, Mrs. King was absent.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion and a second for
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Abstain.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you.
The meeting of July 28th, and at this meeting, Mr. O'Brien and Mayor Mechanico were absent.
Okay. Motion for July 28th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Abstain.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you.
The minutes for the meeting of August 18th,
Okay.
and at this meeting, Mrs. Cynthia and Mr. Tinkin were absent.
I think I'm on the list too.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
and Mr. Vorbach.
Abstain.
The meeting of September 8th, And at this meeting, Mrs. Cindy was absent.
I need a motion for September 8th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jeff.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
and Mr. Bourbon.
Yes.
The meeting of September 22nd, and my records reflect that all were in attendance.
Motion for September 22nd.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, hold on.
September 22nd.
September 27th.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't catch the motion in the
We
second.
didn't have the motion.
I made that.
And I second it.
Any questions? Roll call, Jeff.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Abstain.
and Mr. Bourbon.
Yes.
Did you? Thank you. No presentations at this time, no scheduled public hearings at this time. This point in the meeting is the public comment section where you may state or talk on any agenda item you like. Just step forward, give your name and address, and just speak on any agenda item, if you like. Seeing no hands, you have a motion to close the public.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No discussion item at this time. We can move to the reports. Mayor and council reports. Mr. O'Brien.
I just wanted to note that we received the audit report from our auditors, and we have several comments that we have to take care of, but other than that, looks good, right? That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Schuler?
I'd like to comment that the gas company's in repairing the roads in District 2 from where they worked last summer, putting new gas lines in. So there's some disruption of traffic, but it should be cleared in a day or so.
We always like to see them repair those roads. Thank you. Sure. Mr. King?
No, I have nothing to report.
Mr. Warbeck? And Mr. King?
I just want to thank Joe May in terms of the road repair. He's been out there every morning making sure things are going smooth. And at least around in my block, what they've completed has been done very well. So thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you. On the reports and notices, correspondence, everyone have a chance to look at that? Do we have any further discussion on it? Jay, do you have anything to add?
Mayor, just a note that the last item listed is the planning board hearing notice from Charles Stewart regarding the Lake Drive property. You'll recall that there is a pending request before the governing body regarding the driveway opening, the highway access opening off of Route 71, and pursuant to the council's direction, this matter has been held until such time as the planning board has reviewed it, and that hearing is now scheduled for, I believe, tomorrow night. So this will more than likely come back to the council for discussion at our next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. No ordinance introduction at this time. We do have a few resolutions. Resolution R 2014-162, just approving a social permit for the Algonquin Theater. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any questions on this? Roll call, Jim.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Bourbon.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 163, establishing a Halloween curfew. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the curfew? Roll call, Jim.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Bourbon.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2014-164. This was the annual report that Mr. O'Brien spoke on. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
And do we have any questions? Roll call, Jay?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2014-165, approving the payment of the claims for October 9th, 2014. We need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2014-166, this was for the part-time employees.
Yes.
Okay. I have two part-time employees, Mr. Munn, Mr. Munn, and Mr. Shin. Need a motion and a second.
Make that motion.
Second it.
Any questions?
Mayor, can I make an amendment to that? Contingent, we'll make this offer contingent upon a medical.
Yes, successful completion of the
Medical exam
pre-employment
with the tox
requirements.
screen, yeah, all right.
Thank you, Tom. Anything else? Roll call, Jay?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2014-167, appointing Mr. Myers to a full-time public works position. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
Yes.
Thank you. This point in the meeting is the public comments. Again, this time you may speak on anything that comes to your mind. Step forward, name and address.
Rita Murphy, OEM Coordinator. This is regarding the Monmouth County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Monmouth County and its 53 municipalities have been working on the update of the Monmouth County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan since August of 2012. The first countywide plan was completed in 2009. The plan is a documented evaluation of the natural hazards to which a community is susceptible and the extent to which these events will occur. It identifies areas vulnerability to the effects of natural hazards and the goals, objectives, and actions required to minimize future loss. Mitigation is preparation and planning now to reduce loss of life and property later by lessening the impacts of future disasters. This plan allows the county and participating municipalities to apply for pre- and post-disaster mitigation grant funding through FEMA. The draft of the Monmouth County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan will be posted to the county's website by the close of business day on Monday, October 20th, 2014. The draft will be available for comment or review for 28 days until the close of business November 17, 2014. Residents are fully allowed to make any comments or use the questions that they would like during that time. And they can visit the draft plan for the county by visiting www.monmouthsheriff.org, click on the OEM icon, and select Hazard Mitigation Planning. And secondly, as the mayor and council of you have, I would like to encourage that you have the ability when you speak to residents on any matter. I'm sure different residents may call you, and I ask for your assistance to remind everyone to be prepared for an emergency. And we'd like to have our residents have more of a resiliency and self-sufficiency, but we need the constant. You can hang all the posters you want, but sometimes bringing it up in a casual conversation is going to reinforce that trying to take care of your own things, making sure your batteries or your water. And I know that during Sandy, 2 years ago this month, I had a few favorite things, and they were all very small and very light. And they helped me navigate my house in the dark. So I was curious if any of you had anything that you added to your kit, you know, fans for that, but something that, a tip you could share. But anytime you speak to a resident, before you hang up the phone, if you could just reinforce just a friendly, you know, how's that kit doing? You know, check your snow shovels lately, extension cord's good. If you have a generator, test it, make sure it's 20, at least 20 feet from your house, not near an open window. Carbon monoxide is very dangerous, and at that point, check your detectors as well. So I would like to enlist your aid in trying to encourage that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Thanks, Rita.
Anyone else like to speak?
Eileen Ironberger, Pond Road. I was wondering, I noticed on the agendas, like a lot of times you add a resolution, and there's a part at the beginning where you can, the public can speak on the agenda items, but you never say what the resolutions are that you're adding. Is it possible to add like a line or so, just so people understand what it is, so if they do want to speak on it, they could do that?
To explain it a little better, yes.
Yeah, just so, because if you just say a number, you have no
Yeah.
idea what it
No
is,
idea.
so a person can't actually speak on it if they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I thought about that for a while.
Or they could get up and ask the question.
Right,
What is
right.
the item that's been
Right,
added?
but I mean, it would be a little bit clearer if you
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
just put a line or something. I mean, you don't have to explain the whole thing, but
Yeah, no, that's good, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I thought you were coming up, Rich. Thank you, Rich. And I see our superintendent's in the back. Joe, you have something to say?
No, I'm just,
Just watching?
I just want to thank you folks for supporting my department, and it means a lot to me and Matt.
Okay, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, too. Well, you will, I know you will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing else? Anyone have anything else?
I just have something. Jay, when was this prepared?
That's the October.
This is the community center schedule.
Yes, that was prepared, I received it from Sean Heater. He had prepared it some, I guess, earlier in the month.
Okay, because there is a great misconception here. There is a lot of people that are in there at night. And when people come to request the community center, they're told, well, nobody is in there. And yet you go there and it's already being utilized, apparently by some exercise groups. I know last week I called a meeting, I was told that there was no one in there, and I went there and there was an exercise class going on. So I think that we need to get this more concise. We need to find out exactly who is in and out of this building and at what times, because this was a group in there from apparently 5:30 to 6, and it was on a Wednesday night.
I'll check with Sean. It's my understanding that all of our adult exercise and fitness programs are in the morning hours, but I'll check with Sean and as well as the schedule.
This was a Zumba class.
And
Seems like a
what
miscommunication.
was the date of that? Or the day? You said it was last week, one day?
Last Wednesday,
Last Wednesday.
5:30 to 6:30, and it was a Zumba class. And she said that she has it every Wednesday for that class.
I'm not aware of that, but I'll check with Sean.
But if she's in there on a Wednesday night, I'm just concerned about other nights as well.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's it.